can't hear you. I can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't hear me.
I can't hear you either. Well, we are on the air for football
Well,
and other F words
let me hear.
tonight.
Can you hear me?
Zach is trying to get his microphone going. This is a fantastic start to the show. We have a lot to discuss. The Indianapolis Colts, the 2-0 Indianapolis Colts, are coming to
Check 1
Nissan
2.
Stadium this Sunday at high noon, I believe. And Daniel Jones is playing some pretty good football right now. This is a smart, clean, efficient offense. I think it's going to be a tall task for this Titans defense that kind of came back down to earth a little bit. I'm going to talk to you folks. I'm going to look directly into your souls in the camera. It's a tall task for this Titans defense that came back down to earth a little bit against the Los Angeles Rams last week to be on their P's and Q's. I think this is an efficient unit that threatens to run the ball. Jonathan Taylor is looking quite healthy, is looking as good as I've seen him in quite some time. And there is this creeping thought in the back of my head that Jonathan Taylor could go off for 250 yards this Sunday.
Check. There we are.
Oh, he's back. All right. We have a microphone now.
We got a microphone.
Oh, and a lovely singing voice as well.
All right.
You all right over there? You all right over
Let's
there?
see. Joe Blacko, F is for failure to communicate. What up, chat? This is from Easton Freeze. What up, chat? Titans Day or reckoning this weekend? Woohoo. No pressure, but really got to win this game. Yeah, baby. All right.
They need it.
Joe Blacko says Indiana Jones. Coach Will says NPR Stoney. So there we are.
I feel like I was in my NPR bag just then.
Yeah. I think
Welcome.
I may just hold the microphone.
Can you pick up all the, when you dangle it around? No?
No.
That's pretty good.
Nope.
Damn,
There's
now
no
I kinda
jangle
wanna-
to my dangle.
Now I kind of want to hold the microphone too.
Oh, come on.
'Cause-
If only we could like walk around the room and just talk.
Can we?
No, because
We
I mean
can't?
that's a lot of work for the producer Ross. All right, hey, this is football
Mojo
and other
Rojo.
this is football and other F words.
I just hit myself in the face with this thing.
Yep. Hey, so we're going through it. I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Where would you classify this game as like, hey, we may have to call this a must win? Like, is this like an inflection point game for you?
I don't think it's an inflection point. I think, well, I don't know. I don't think it's at an inflection point now, but I don't know if people realize, like, it's one of those situations where I think we probably know it's an inflection point. I don't know if the larger group knows it's an inflection point because we're looking at
And you're
the
talking
schedule.
about the fans.
Yeah, we're looking at the schedule right now as a singular focus on the Indianapolis Colts. But if they don't win this, they've got to play a Houston team that I think is actually better than I expected them to be, despite being 0-2. Then you've got a Cardinals team that is 2-0 that is much further ahead in their development than the Titans, that have really good players and a scheme that seems to know just how to use them. I think it's a tall task to win those games. So if you don't win this one, I think you're pretty confidently staring down the barrel of 0-5. And at that point, it kind of amplifies the importance of each ensuing game, where it's like you're going into the Raiders game as a must win. You're going into the Patriots game as a must win. I don't think – I think they're going to go best case scenario 1-4 out of these first 5. And if that's the case, that I think makes Sunday a must win.
Because they do go on the road for the next 3 games. So if you can get a win in the home crowd and maybe sneak a win in that road series, well, you got Mike Vrabel coming to town, and maybe you can generate people in the seats.
Yeah.
Because today, Ross forgot that it was Titans Ticket Thursday on Cover 2, and we were getting people were getting mad at us that we forgot and didn't give away tickets to people at the studio. And I'm like, well, sorry, we care about our listeners, and we didn't want them to suffer on their Sunday. There's better ways to spend your Sunday than going down to somewhere you don't even have a parking pass to
Yeah.
and watch a bad product. Because right now, I have no reason to believe that a good product is going to be on the field Sunday.
we're
and-
on different pages there. But
Yeah.
before we continue, I just want to know: do we still have those tickets?
Do we give
them
a
away?
hey? Can we
We
give them
still
away on
have
Football
them.
and Other Efforts?
Yeah.
I guess my thing is like I've seen 19 games. Why do
Only 2 games with this roster.
I mean, it's the same quality of roster, to be honest with you.
It's like what 52% turnover.
Yeah, but it's the same quality. I mean, like,
Okay, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's new pieces, but your inside linebacker position is better.
I think your wide receivers are better.
Your wide receivers are better. Your offensive line is allegedly better.
Your quarterback's better.
Your quarterback's better, but everything is still the
Safeties are
same.
better.
Yeah. We'll see how much is better than last year, but nothing has changed. You know what's not better? Our mental health.
It's not. I'm in shambles right now. I think I found the disconnect because last week I sat here and I said I was kind of surprised at the backlash at Brian Callahan. And so I was flipping back through some of my prep notes and I realized I think I was way lower on this team than anybody else was. And so I actually think they've played better than I expected them to in the first 2 games. And so for me, that's why I'm kind of like,
Man, you must have really thought this. I mean, I was kind of low on this team, but you must have really thought this team was dog shit.
I thought we were gonna have back-to-back like 38-14 kind of games.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why I'm feeling like, oh wow, no, they're competitive here, and everybody else is like, no, this sucks.
Because
But
I don't really think they're competitive.
why?
Because they're not good. Like, they're out. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is they're outclassed everywhere. Nate, what is one advantage that they have over the Colts coming in this weekend? Like, where is the competitive advantage for Brian Callahan and Denard Wilson? And because I think their defensive line is better than our offensive line.
Yeah, I think the Titans. I think the Titans wide receivers are better than the Colts defensive backs. I think the defense, the secondary and the linebackers are more opportunistic.
You got Tyler Warren coming up there. You know what I'm saying?
But I think they can take advantage of, I don't know how you classify this matchup, but I think they've proven to be opportunistic so far. And I think Cinderella's going to turn into a pumpkin or whatever the fucking saying is at some point, and Daniel Jones is going to throw 2 interceptions.
People said that about Sam Darnold.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't remember Sam Darnold still throwing into like double and triple coverage though.
Yeah, he was, but I mean, he had Justin Jefferson he was throwing to, so it's a little bit different.
I mean, I'm happy for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I've been a Daniel Jones truther for quite some time. I even wanted Daniel Jones to play quarterback for the Tennessee Titans at one point, but he got away with quite a few in both of the games that they've played so far, even that fluky Dolphins game, which I do think was a fluke, by the way.
Well, I also look at it this way, though, with that thing, that's putting a lot of trust in Denard Wilson to scheme correctly.
Well,
because the way that they have talked this week is that they're going to bring the blitzing and bring the pressure to a guy that has handled so far blitzing and pressure very well.
And he's pretty mobile.
And this is a team that has proven over 19 games that, A, most of the time it's going to scheme up against a quarterback incorrectly. And 2, it has a problem with mobile quarterbacks. It has a problem with running backs as well, which, again, Jonathan Taylor is back there. Like, to me, this could end up being – it's only going to go one of 2 ways. I don't think there's going to be any medium.
Yeah.
It's either going to be like a 10-12, kind of like what it was against Denver, or it's going to be like what it was against the Lions. Like, it's going to be a bloodbath.
I could see this being – I could see this being a game where the Colts just completely gash the Titans' run defense over and over. But I could also see it being kind of spunky performance where they get a couple of turnovers off the quarterback and the offense is able to find some success. I think this Colts defense is going to give them space in the secondary. So you hope that Cam Ward can hit open throws instead of holding on to the ball and waiting for something to develop 50 yards down the field, take those checkdowns. And I think that's kind of the key to the game for this, or the key key to victory for this game is to take the underneath stuff and get a couple turnovers. And I think you're in business. I feel better about this matchup than I have either of the previous two.
I think my issue lies with I don't have faith that they're going to come with the correct game plan, because they didn't come with the correct game plan so many times. Heck, we can even just go back to the Denver game. We don't even have to include last year where they decide, hey, we're not going to do any mesh crossers, anything like that, take advantage of the the Vance Joseph defense. And then you see the Colts a week later do all that you should have done, and they won.
It was, yeah. And I just watched that tape earlier in the week, and I'm just thinking, like, why? The only justification I could come up with is because, well, I mean, like, we haven't seen mesh, which we talked about as a potential answer for the Broncos game. I know there's a concept in this Callahan offense where you have like two over routes that kind of put the safety in conflict where he has to decide high or low. And if you get the one-on-one matchup, he chooses one, the other springs wide open. I don't think we've really seen a whole lot of that kind of stuff. It has been, as far as the passing concepts go, I would say repetitive, redundant maybe. It has been kind of one of the more surprising developments of the season so far is that they don't really seem to be opening up the passing game. And the only justification I've come up with for that is that maybe they are more difficult. They require more reads. You're not just looking through your progressions, but you're also looking at like how the defense aligns, where the safety is, and there's more moving parts to adjust. And maybe they're just trying to ease their rookie quarterback into life in the NFL. And if that's the case, then I don't know. I mean, if you're just running the same stuff over and over, I don't know. Eventually, you got to try something new.
Well, then I go over to Denard Wilson's side. I mean, again, I liken this game a lot to the Green Bay Packers game last year, because the best way to have attacked Malik Willis was to flood the passing lanes and have him make a decision, because he's a slow decision maker.
Yeah.
This would be the game to do that with against Daniel Jones, because then not only can you do that, but by kind of flooding those passing lanes and making him make decisions, you can let your old, slow pass rush maybe get there. Or B, if he does start running, you at least have people out in the passing lanes that can make allegedly a quick tackle.
I will say this. I think Daniel Jones has been playing pretty decisive football through 2 weeks, and that ball's coming out quick. But
he's also been blitzed to 66% rate.
Yeah.
So when you blitz, you get usually an easy read.
Yeah. So
that's why you don't blitz Matt Stafford.
I think to that point, I think in some cases when you blitz a quarterback, you make the decision easier for them. So I do kind of feel like this is probably a game where, like, I don't think these Colts are particularly great separators or anything like that. A.D. Mitchell, the guy that was supposed to be their deep threat, explosive playmaking guy, has not lived up to the hype so far. So I think this is probably a case where I think you back off a little bit and make the decisions muddier.
You need to focus in on Tyler Warren and Jonathan Taylor.
I don't think there's anything they can do about Tyler Warren. I'm sorry. They don't have anybody on this team that can cover him.
Well, that's not good.
And there's a series in my notes watching the Colts where it's like screenplay to Tyler Warren, handoff to Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren as the lead blocker. Tyler Warren up the sideline, big catch. Like they use him everywhere.
I like that you got up like this talking about Tyler Warren with your arms on your because you're trying to hide something.
It is. Tyler Warren's a good football player, man. The Titans could use a guy like Tyler Warren in that offense. I'll tell you that much. I don't know who covers him, and I kind of feel like he's going to be the guy that is going to get his, and you just got to kind of limit what else they're able to do on offense.
Good luck, I guess. I mean, like, I just don't see it. Like, I'm at the point, Stoney, where we're 19 games in. I have to see it to believe it. Like, I understand that, yes, everything you're saying, the if, ands, or the ifs, Well, if Calvin Ridley doesn't drop it, well, Calvin Ridley's dropped a lot over the course of his career, so it's likely not going to change, Or if these guys stay disciplined, well, none of these guys stay disciplined on hardly any of their run fits for the four quarters, and you maybe put some of that on exhaustion.
Well,
but at the same time, it's just be in the way at the right spot. Like
when you talk about team defense too, all it takes is for one guy.
One guy.
Like Cedric
and there's
Gray
always one guy
over pursues to the boundary and then gives up inside. That's all it takes for a big gain. So it's difficult. I think the way I framed it to you when we were in our production meeting before the show started. I feel like the Colts are kind of the bizarro Titans, where for the Titans it feels like they've run out of steam. Things have not really gone their way. It kind of feels like the Colts, everything has gone their way. And so they're 2-0, but I don't think they're really as good as that record would indicate. And for me, that kind of pulls – if I'm sitting here in my mind, I'm thinking the Titans are better than I expected them to be and the Colts are worse. I think they're on a more even playing field.
I just haven't seen it on tape. And, I get that Cam Ward is exciting and fun to watch and is reason enough alone to maybe watch it. But we haven't really seen Cam Ward unleashed at this point. Now, first game, surroundings failed him. Second game, I think he failed his surroundings. Not all blame does not go on Cam Ward, but I think he does carry a heavier portion of the blame in game 2 than he did in game 1.
I've been out of the loop this week, and it's actually been awesome to not be a part of the angry mob this week, but are people being honest about Cam Ward's performance?
Oh,
this
absolutely
week?
not. I mean,
no?
they'll never be honest about a Cam Ward performance, and that's just how it's going to go. It's how it goes in Titans land. Even because if they love you, you can do no wrong. If they hate you, you can do no right.
Yeah.
And because remember, Marcus was a big deal, and they all came up with these stupid ass fucking excuses about Marcus and being, he was wronged by the Titans. No, he just kind of sucked.
Yeah. Yeah,
he was pro Nico. You all see what Nico is. He's pro Nico.
Because I do feel like, man, that's the step that that's the piece.
Just real quick,
mm-hmm.
I hear this all the time. The team was supposed the 0-2. This is not the 0-2 and I expected. And I can't believe it was the 0-2 that you expected as far as how it looks on the field. Because I had pretty low expectations. But 23 penalties for 190-something yards, giving up 150 rush yards per game, 11 sacks.
I was about to say
none of that was on the table for me. Because I was told that, hey, this defense was going to stop the run. Yeah. Now, I laughed at the idea that it was going to generate a pass rush. But they can't even stop the run. I was told this offensive line was better. That has not been the case. I was told that Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward's connection is out of this world. And I'd seen it.
Yeah.
But I was told that it was also going to be no worries about that. Hasn't came to fruition. I was told this was going to look like a modern offense. It has not looked like a modern offense. I was told that the penalties were going to be cut down. It has not. So to me, it has looked worse by the expectations they set. I was told this was going to be a competitive football team, and I have not seen a competitive football team. In all honesty, I don't think that they were ever. When J.K. Dobbins scored that touchdown, what did we both look here and say? Game's over.
Yeah. But when did he score that touchdown?
We knew his game over for a while. I don't know when he actually scored it, but right when he scored
they were to say they're
not
competitive.
It was like third quarter.
To say they're not competitive at all is a bit much.
I don't think they are, because I think what happens is that some teams get off into slow starts these early in the games, and everybody views that as competitiveness. And I think it's really just that maybe some teams slow to ramp up. This is Matt Stafford's second game, guy who hasn't practiced all week or all year. There's certain things that kind of lead itself to it. I wonder with a hot team like the Colts, a team that has yet to punt, a team that scored.
No. They punted, but it got called back because of a penalty. They were forced to punt, and it drew a flag on the play.
And did they punt?
And then it converted because of the
Yeah.
penalty yardage.
So they never punted.
I mean,
by the
technically, by the record book,
Yeah.
no, but they've been forced to punt this season.
Well, okay. Well, once in this mythical play that you're trying to pass off. It's just it does not look like an NFL team.
I don't know what I don't agree with that at all.
What do you think has looked competitive?
I think the offense has looked good at points. Cam Ward looks a lot better.
But that's
than I
not.
thought.
But one guy can't be competitive for the whole team.
Alec Manor, Chimray DK.
Well, Alec Manor
Peter
only got
Skoronski,
one of three contested catches last week.
Wow,
Where's the competitive fire?
The balls were off.
Oh, so we're blatant. Well, then Cam Ward sucks, I guess.
That's what I was trying to say for week 2. Like, the balls were off. He had an opportunity, and the ball was a little bit off. To say they're not competitive at all is wild to me, because I think
Alec has not been balling. Guys, we got to stop overinflating what Alec's been doing. He's looked good. I'm not saying that he has not, but balling is a little much.
I don't know. I think he's kind of been balling.
Well, maybe it will actually convert to something.
I mean,
one big play does not change everything. Like everybody, what about he was 2 for 7 the first week.
But he's separating. He's running good routes.
Then why isn't he catching the ball on 2?
I don't know, because the ball's off. I don't know why they're not using him to block more on these screens and stuff either. I think the offense needs more Alec Manor. But I mean, they're like leading the Rams at one point. They're leading the Broncos at one point. I don't think this team is far off from 2-0.
This team is far off from 2-0.
Like, they got to figure out how to not just completely peter off in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but it's an entire second half. But, when you're talking about 12 drives in each of the last two, or not each of the last two, 12 drives in the second half combined.
Yeah.
In the second half combined. Number 2 in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
6 yards per play.
Yeah,
that's not competitive.
But what about the first half?
Doesn't matter. The second half is where it matters. The second half is where it matters. The scoreboard does not tell the tale.
You said they haven't been competitive.
They haven't been competitive to me where it really matters, and that's in the second half. And they have not been competitive in the second half. And the scoreboard does not tell the whole story. It shows is that maybe, hey, the Denver Broncos probably aren't as good as what everybody kind of thought they were. Maybe they will end up being good, but maybe they're a slow starting team. They were a slow starting team last year, then they caught on fire and went crazy. So maybe they're just a slow starting team. The Rams did exactly what I thought they would.
They didn't. I didn't think it would be close ever.
It wasn't close.
Yes, it was. It was tied.
It wasn't close in the end. And it wasn't close on the field. They were clearly outmatched and outplayed the entire game.
No.
Okay.
Dude, this is wild. I don't know what to say.
I mean, Ross, where do you land?
It's a mix of both. I know it's a cop-out, but I do not think the offense has been competitive yet, really. I think the defense, the whole Denver game was competitive. I really do. And I think they were competitive for the first half last week.
Yeah, and to me, the offense is how they're going to have to win games. And I don't think it's been a good offense. I don't think there's any way to argue otherwise when they only have one touchdown and the rest of their points are from field goals.
Because I think Cam Ward is the hope. I think Cam Ward is the catalyst.
But hope is about the future. It's not about now. Right now, that offense is not good. It can be good, maybe.
Did I say the offense was good?
Well, you said it was competitive.
I think it was competitive.
Well, I'm arguing it's not because, you got to score touchdowns to be competitive.
I would just agree to disagree.
Where is 11 sacks and 100-something yards passing? Has he even reached 200 yards passing in any of his games?
I'm talking about, operational standpoint. I think if you see the vision, I think it can work.
Can work and working is two different things.
I think they were I think the team sucks, but like
Yes, I agree. We
but
agree.
To say they haven't been competitive is just.
I just don't think they've been competitive when it matters, and I'm just watching a game, waiting for the inevitable turnabout. Like whenever it happens, it's going to happen. They're going to lose the game.
I don't know, man.
I do agree with that point. I feel like you're kind of just sitting watching these games, and like in that like early third quarter, you're like it's about to slip away somehow.
I mean, I did tell you when the Rams got up 20-16, I'm like, I don't care what happens the rest of the game. Like, this is all I needed to see.
Yeah, and it was over.
It was over.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
But to say they were never competitive the whole game.
Okay, let's not worry about that.
Because if they can figure out how to keep that going.
Again, you're talking about the future. I'm talking about right now. Right now, you get to a point in a game and you say, yeah, it's over. This game's over.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that they were never competitive
at
any point.
Let's forget I just said it. Let's forget about I said the never competitive, because I think we're getting bogged down in semantics. It's like we're doing a Blaine and Zach thing right now. Do you think that this team on offense has showed that it can play with any team in the NFL?
Any team, no.
So what kind of team? So it's basically the Saints. Maybe you could play against
the Browns.
So all the bad teams.
I think they can play with the Colts. I really think they can play with the Colts.
I mean, how far into the game can they play with the Colts?
At least the beginning of the fourth quarter.
I feel like there could be a bet here for this. We may have to figure out a bet. Because I think it will be, pretty much in the middle of the third quarter, we'll both look at each other and hearing this. You may not want to look at me because you'll laugh sometimes when we just exchange glances and look into each other's eyes, we just giggle. But I think that ultimately we'll know in a moment. It'll kind of probably get eerily silent in the room. And it's like, oh, this is over. And it's going to be in the third quarter. It may even be in the second quarter against this Colts team. Because there's also no home field advantage for the Titans, which sucks.
But I mean, the thing is, like, my issue is I don't think you're giving them enough credit for the potential that they have.
I don't care about potential right now. I mean, when we're talking about potential, do you know where the potential comes? 2026 when they fire Brian Callahan.
Or I don't think you're giving them credit for actually being in these games.
Because I just don't think they're really ever in it. I know that score can dictate a lot of that perception, but I just know looking at this team's not going to win this game.
But I mean, how do you watch the game and not think like, man, these guys are playing hard. This is pretty evenly matched so far.
I mean, playing hard and doesn't really. That just seems like a participation trophy to me.
And how do you not think, oh man, if they can tap into that?
Because I don't think they have the talent. I think this is a roster
I don't
deserted
think so.
of talent.
I don't think it's a good roster either, but I think that they've got.
I think they have I would say probably the worst head coach in the NFL, which also coincides with being the worst play caller in the NFL.
I don't know about that. I haven't watched 31 other play callers to have a knowledgeable opinion about it.
Yeah, but I think we can pretty safely say from what we have seen that he has. We just talked about it last week about how he's no instinct and no feel for the game.
I didn't say he had no feel for the game. I said I question his feel for the game.
I mean, I think if you're questioning feel and instincts for the game.
At times when he seems to call plays that pulls the offense out of rhythm.
Yeah, well, I would say that a good play caller doesn't pull people out of rhythm.
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't watched 31 other play callers enough to know.
Is Easton inside you right now?
Careful. Careful.
Is he like driving you?
I'm not even like positive about this team. This team fucking blows.
Well, we're telling you why it blows, though.
But what I'm saying is that they have surprised me because they've been competitive. That's what I'm saying.
This is my favorite. Here, let me get into the chat real quick. Team Remra, remember when Zach literally popped bottles when they hired Callahan? LOL, things change fast. Fast? I went through a whole fucking year of watching some of the worst fucking football of my life last year. It took a while, and I defended Callahan for a while. Then he came out and just did the same old the first 2 weeks.
In one game.
First 2 weeks. And because I have 17 other games to tell me, I can't ignore the data and just be like, oh, well, I hope it is. I just can't be that person.
17 games you were defending him. 18th you were out on
because
him.
I was promised something and there's nothing to promise anymore. And we even talked about I even said if they fire Carthon, they should fire Callahan because the likelihood of this working is slim.
Pretty slim.
And now I'll defend certain things that he did last year, but when you come out and look the same exact way that you started the year last year, and albeit worse in the most critical categories that you cannot afford to be worse in, it's hard for me to sit here and say, well, because I said I was very happy with him for 2 years ago when he got hired, that I shouldn't change my mind. And I can't do that because the evidence is just overwhelming at this point. He has to prove me wrong.
I'm just saying, like, it's 2 games. It's 2 games with this roster. And I don't think they're going to be good. I think they will be lucky to win 6 or 7 games, if that. And I'm not even saying that you're wrong necessarily. I'm just saying, like, we got to kind of.
I'm about to have to block this Johnny Bucks guy.
We got to kind of like let things breathe a little bit and see how they look. I know what you're going to say about, they're elite, the 0-2 versus elite defenses, but.
Oh, I'm not. I just think it's silly.
I want to see how they look against a team that on paper they should be equal to or superior to in terms of talent. And that's why
you're not going to find that team.
Yes. That's why I told you when we were sitting here, you said, and you looked at me like I was crazy then when I said, let's talk about this in week 6 because they'll have played the Colts. I think the Texans are a good football team, but I think there is a matchup that they could potentially exploit if they're able to rise to the occasion. I think they're going to get smoked by the Cardinals, but then against the Raiders and the Patriots, so that's week 7, my bad. Like they should have with this quarterback, with these receivers, with, all these things that we're assuming are going to get better. They should be a 3-win football team.
I don't think that it's going to get better.
They should be a 3-win football team by the time we wrap that Patriots game. And if they're not, I think we got some problems on our hand. But I just think we gotta hold our water a little bit here. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying.
I'm okay with you holding your water, just don't hold their water. I mean, I don't know. I look at this team and I'm saying this team right now has not shown that it can rise to the occasion in big moments.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I can't go forward and just say
they got to figure it out.
They got to figure it out.
But I think the difference is I think now they have the talent to do that. And I don't think they did last year. I think
they have the quarterback to possibly do it, but there's so many other players on this team that I can't say that one guy can change it all right now.
But from a talent standpoint, that's what I'm saying. Strictly from a talent, I think they have wide receivers that can separate and get open in a big moment now. I think.
But can they catch it?
From a talent standpoint, this offensive line should be much better than it is. And so I'm allowing for the room for those positions to grow into that moment. And when they get that moment, how do they deliver then? I don't think they've seen a fucking big moment yet because they've been out of these games in the fourth quarter.
But those are the big moments, though, is what I get at, is those are big moments to stay in those games, not to fumble it away. Those are big moments to stay in those games and not drop it. Those are big moments in those games to realize, oh, man, I got 13 yards of field to get a first down. I could probably do something. Those are the times, those are big moments in the game. I view the fourth quarter as big moments. So, to me, I look at it and I go, I mean, it's all projection, and I get it. I understand that I'm taking the more logical, I'm more of the, right here, right now recency guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at it as well, if they could just, not drop this ball, or if they could just do this. But that was the same stuff we were saying last year.
Was it?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure we probably got a lot of podcasts. Well, if they, when we go back to the podcast talking about explosives, if they just did this or if they just did that.
It was better protection, higher floor quarterback.
But that's what I'm saying. And they're not getting better protection. And they're doing more penalties at an insane rate. And they have a worse run defense through the first 2 weeks than they've had at last year. It's not a winning formula right now.
No, I get it. And I agree that it's not. But I think, I don't know, man. This team, the team feels different this year to me.
I think Cam Ward, because Cam Ward does have that effect where you're like, oh, man, if Cam Ward's behind center, anything's possible. Like, you kind of get that feeling from him. But I think that can get you into a trap of, well, he can overcome so much because that's really unfair to him. I'm not saying that you're saying this, but like just in the general sense is that like everybody's like, well, Cam Ward. Well, he's not God. He's not Joe Burrow, no matter how much this team may want him to be Joe Burrow right now. I mean, he's got to learn to be that guy. And I don't think that he's going to be able – I don't know if he's going to be able to learn to be that guy so as quick as what everybody's really wanting him to be to have a worthy on-field product. Because right now, this is not a worthy on-field product. And I think that's what attendance is showing you. I mean, like Cam Ward's first game, regular season debut, it was abysmal.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff on social media this week about the in-game experience, which, I mean, to me is like darkest timeline stuff. Where I don't know how anybody survives.
Well, that's the thing is
we start going down because I don't think we're holding the front office accountable enough for this disaster either.
Well, I think we hold them accountable for the Dan Moore a lot.
And you said you were going to beef up the run game, and you went and signed Draymond Jones. You drafted Femi Oladejo.
Who's neither of them have been very good against the run.
You brought in these
Jahad
safeties.
Ward has been your best edge defender.
Jahad
fucking Ward.
You brought in Cody Barton, and this is not a shot at Cody Barton, but like all of these pieces were supposed to fortify the run game, and teams are still running all over you.
And you can't run all over teams. Like, it's literally taken Tony Pollard and Peter Skoronski to carry that entire run game on their back.
You don't have a tight end that can block for the run concepts that you want to run.
Not a single one on the roster.
And yet you keep trying. So, I mean, whose call was that? Was that coaching saying, nah, we're fine with what we got? Or was it personnel people saying, we're not going to bring back Nick Vannett and we're not going to go draft Jackson Halls. We're not going to replace this blocking tight end at all. And that's where I feel like some of the criticism is a little too pointed at just the coaching staff.
I mean,
because I don't know, man. I don't have a good feeling where fans are mad at the in-game experience. The coaching has been subpar. The roster building has been subpar. What's good about this franchise right now?
You would say the draft class. And draft class sans Femi Oladejo.
Some of the draft class.
Because we haven't seen Jackson Slater in a game. Khalil Mullins has been injured. And then Kevin Winston has also been injured.
Yeah, and Marcus Harris has just been in spot duty.
Yeah. But, I mean,
moon balls.
To be honest, though, the guys, the most important positions on offense you feel pretty settled on. Right tackle, left guard, and wide receiver, too, and quarterback. Like, that's where you feel pretty good about. And returner, I guess.
I feel good about Bryce Oliver, too. I think he's a good young player.
Well, he's injured, so.
You want in that 5th, 6th wide receiver slot / special teams.
Yeah.
And that's where
everybody knows you build around the left guard.
You build around the left guard and the slot corner.
Yeah.
Which, like the reason I think it bothers me so bad is because I would caution Titans fans into not thinking that if we just fire the head coach and clear out the coaching staff that everything's going to get better. Because I personally don't think this team is going to be good until at least 2027.
Do you think that we talked about this just a little bit, but the 2027 thing just really brought it back up, is that, they did tell us it was going to be a 2-3 year rebuild.
Yeah.
But it didn't have to be.
Well, and looking at
that's
decisions
the thing.
that they did make this offseason, like, I asked you, like, let's say you do fire the coach. I mean, do you like how much goodwill has this front office earned to trust that they're the ones that can rebuild this roster to the extent that it needs to be rebuilt?
Yeah, and I guess you would just point at the draft class, right? But again, we're talking about 3 players on the draft, 4 players. I'll include Gunnar Helm. I think he's at least a pass-catching tight end.
I think he'll be good for what
Chimere DK has exceeded already, in my mind, 4th-round expectations just on his returnability alone. Now, he's got to learn how to fucking close off the top of his routes and all that kind of stuff because he's not – once he gets behind someone, he never is in the right spot.
I also think it would help him if his own wide receivers weren't getting blocked into him while they're trying to
execute that too. Well, that was the tight end too, Chig Okonkwo.
Was it? Because I feel like I saw Van Jefferson do it too.
If he did.
Both of them did?
Yes.
I know Chig was the very first one because Nick Hampton was the guy who did it to Chig.
Loved Nick Hampton.
But, like, you know, I do feel good about Chimere DK, and I know I was critical of Elikai Manor. It's more of just, look, guys, we got to settle down about some Elikai Manor.
Yeah.
Like, we got to see some more consistency from Elikai Manor because we're talking about unrealized balls or air yards and all this kind of stuff. Some of that's on him, just as much as it may be on Cam. That's kind of a give-and-take relationship. But I do think Elikai Manor is going to be a wide receiver, too.
I think he's going to be. I think he could be a really good wide receiver too.
Yeah. I think he could be. He'd be like T. Higgins. Not what I'm saying not in style, but you would say T. Higgins is a really good wide receiver too.
I would say ceiling in terms of importance to the offense. I am happy that like some of the things I said about him leading up to the draft, the athleticism, the speed being kind of underrated, that's translated so far.
Yeah.
But I still I just don't know the most concerning part thinking about the future while still trying to be patient and allow this roster and this coaching staff room to grow this season is just like what is the vision for the future on defense right now? I mean,
and that's the thing that kills me, like when the Adam in Portland had called in on Titans Talkback, it was like, well, let's go ahead and fire Callahan. Well, there's no point in firing Callahan right now because you can't put Denard Wilson as head coach. I mean, he's just because he can make you excited and a little bit of a presser doesn't mean he's a good. You can't. You're not a good head coach because of your press conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Okay. So that's why everybody's like, well, he's so great in press conferences. That means he should be head coach over Brian Callahan. No. And then, listen, the only real path forward is like Bones Fossil, who was 0-3 as a head coach with the LA Rams, who was in a similar roster situation. Because this is a bad roster, ultimately.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we all have to agree this team sucks and it's a bad roster. And I look at it and I go, it doesn't matter who your head coach is right now. They're not going to win with it. Unless you're getting a Sean McVay or a Kyle Shanahan or someone like that that's kind of proven that they can at least scheme up points, even if the team sucks.
What if they start winning?
Then probably monkeys have flown out of my butt.
But that's like...
But I mean, like, when you say winning, what do you mean winning? Like, do you mean like this is a team that's starting to look like a maybe playoff team if things swing their way? Or is this a team that's like they won 2 games and then they'll win 2 games a couple of weeks later, then maybe they'll win another game and then it's still a 5 or 6 win team?
I think if they win the games that they should win on paper, which I do think there are a few, and then like do they beat a team they shouldn't beat this season?
I mean, it will depend on how it looks because is this Cam Ward, carrying him on their back? I don't want to end up in a Zach. And I know people are going to be like, well, he went to the Super Bowl. But I think we all kind of know that Zach Taylor he's not the coach there. It's a joke.
I think there have been a lot of issues exposed with that Bengals roster that I think the talent in the wide receiving room and the quarterback room have been able to mask. That's where I'm at anyway with Cincinnati. Are you okay?
Yeah, Richie says, Ian Manor keeps this up, he'll be traded to Philly in no time.
That is some sick hurt Titans fan shit right there.
Ed Henry kind of goes like, if it's such a bad roster, then why is Fossil special teams playing well with the back half of this roster? Because they're playing other teams' special teams with the back half of their roster.
They have upgraded a lot of those positions too.
Like Chimere DK.
Like Chimere DK. Oh God, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Most of your good roster turnover ended up on special teams.
That's what I was trying to get at. Yeah,
because like your bad roster turnover ended up on defense. Yeah. Your good roster turnover ended up on special teams. I mean, ultimately, that's where it's at right there. But you're also playing against other teams' bad end of their roster, the back end of their rosters. You're not playing. It's not like this Chimere DK is going up and like a team of Patrick Surtains are coming down and crashing on him, trying to tackle him. It's a bunch of other dudes.
What I'm sensing in Ed's question is that there's a question of whether or not we're being too hard on the roster, that maybe it's not as bad. I don't want to assume that for Ed, but I do think it poses an interesting question. And I think I would point out where I think they still have needs. And this is a component of roster building that I don't know if we think through too often. We just say, well, they need an edge rusher. They need 2 edge rushers.
They'll need 3 next year because they will, because they got like 3 or 4 leaving in free agency.
So I think they need a wide receiver 1. I think Calvin Ridley has been incredibly frustrating. Drops aside. He wasn't ready for that screen in week 1. I don't know that he's even like lining up correctly on certain plays. They need a wide receiver 1. Okay. So just like those 2 positions alone, how often are elite difference-making edge rushers available in free agency? How often are elite wide receiver 1s available in free agency? Not very often. You usually get those guys with your first-round draft picks. And if that's the case, well, they only have 1 first-round draft pick. So no matter where they go, it's still going to be the next year, assuming that whatever they do choose in 2026 hits and is actually a good pick. Well, they've still got that other need that they've kicked down the can to 2027.
Or they could just get the first overall pick and just trade
it back. Yeah. So that's what, when I say like it's going to be 2027 before they're competitive, I'm thinking, yes, you build out depth on day 3 of the draft. You get your contributors on day 2. You get your difference makers on day 1. They need a difference maker at edge rusher. They need a difference maker at wide receiver. They need a blocking tight end.
What do you think they need the most?
They might need a difference maker at left tackle. I mean, like, they might need a difference maker at cornerback, the way this thing goes. And so you only have so many resources. I'll get to your question, but to finish that point, you only have so many resources each offseason to address premium needs, and they have a lot of premium needs, and that's why I think this roster is far away, because it's not just about accumulating depth at this point. You like to do that along the way, and I do think that is the stuff like drafting Marcus Harris, drafting Kevin Winston Jr. Like, by the time you need those guys, they should be good to go. I get it, all that.
As long as Kevin Winston gets healthy.
But I think when you're looking at the state of this roster, they have way too many needs for difference makers than they can accumulate in one offseason cycle. So to answer your question, what they need the most, I don't want to say left tackle. Because they're in a tricky situation with Dan Moore Jr., if that is the case. I would say edge rusher.
That's where I land too. Now, to clarify, Ed Henry says, I guess my point is Fossil has maximized the hand he's been dealt. Why can't Callie and Wilson do the same? Because
that's a good question too.
I think that's a good question, but also, obviously, I think Fossil is clearly a proven better coach than anybody on this roster. But that doesn't necessarily equate to is a good head coach.
Yeah. What do you think Mike McCoy's thinking, sitting around this organization?
He's probably thinking, I got a fucking good. I get paid to do this, and I don't even have to get in front of pressers or get yelled at.
I'm not getting any of the blame.
Yeah,
for this
I'm just like riding easy street.
Just here catching a paycheck.
Yeah.
What do you? Never mind. I don't want to ask that.
But I also will say this too: is like, again, special teams has a quicker path to finding success because you just got to find the right players.
Yeah.
And because they're these aren't elite special team players. Like when you're talking about Chimere DK and all those guys blocking for him, going up against the guys across the way, they're all pretty much the same person. You get what I'm saying? You may have a difference maker at returner, but you're not going to see the impact. When you go to edge rusher and you see Femi Adebayo getting stood up by Brandon Davis, is that the guy's name? Allen Davis? Davis Allen. Getting stood up by Davis Allen. Well, that's a bigger impact, right? I mean, that is the degree of difficulty on defense and offense, and the degree of the athlete you face in one-on-one matchups is far superior to what you face in special teams. Not to diss special teams players, but what I'm just saying is that you're talking about going up against Myles Garrett. You're Dan Moore going up against Myles Garrett versus Chimere DK going up against Gunnar Olszewski.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a totally different world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's a fair point.
I hate Dan. Well, I don't want to say hate Dan Moore because that's going to come off like I have a personal vendetta against him. But the Dan Moore signing, I think, needs a little bit more heat on it. But I understand everybody's like, well, he's going up against Nick Benito and going up against this, and then he'll be going up against, Leatu Latu or DeForest Buckner, and then he'll be going, and then we'll continue to push that down the road. Well, when he can face maybe 35-year-old Cam Jordan in Week 16.
Now we're talking.
The Dan Moore game.
That's when it's going to click for Dan Moore. No, I think like they could have done the roster math to have ended up with a tackle in the draft and not overspent. Because I'm already wondering. You might know this. Like, how easy would it be for them to get out of the contract that they gave him?
They have to do it after, I think we figured out they could do it before, they could technically, I think, and it would be pushing it, before the fifth day of the league year this year and may see some return back. I'd have to double check the math on that.
Could you trade him?
I mean, maybe, but I'm sure the Eagles could turn him into something. That they actually have a O-line Jesus up at the Eagles. But realistically, it's going to be out after year 2. So you have to get through another year of him. But you spent so much money, you could have got a 2-year guy that probably will give you the same kind of production for half the money. And you could be looking at maybe in this draft, Francisco Moaga over there at Miami.
A lot of people say he's going to be a guard.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I've heard that he's the best left tackle.
It's been out there.
He got short arms? Is the short arms?
I haven't watched him yet. He's on my list for this week. I want to watch him, and I want to watch Parker Brailsford, that center out of Alabama. But point taken that you could go draft for this tackle group, which I don't know, like.
I guess my thing is it goes back to, let's go back to the front office real quick, put a little bit more heat on them. It feels like Dan Moore was a panic signing, and it feels like Femi Adebayo was a panic drafting. And you cannot panic in those situations.
So why do you think they panicked on Dan Moore Jr.?
Well, I think they wanted Jalen Moore, who's probably not even any better, half the price, and they lost out on him. And they panicked, and they were like, well, we're going to have to overpay him, and we can't. Maybe Jalen Moore got their offer, gave it to Kansas City, and Kansas City said, okay, we'll pay you more. And maybe they're like, okay, now we just got to give Dan Moore a deal so unbelievable, other people will laugh when he calls and asks.
Blow his dick off with this.
Got to blow his dick off. It's what we got to do.
Yeah.
And so I think they panicked. And I think they knew that they needed a left tackle. I think they knew that maybe they possibly messed up with J.C. Latham at right tackle. Though with the way that J.C. Latham showed up to camp, I'm almost thinking maybe you should have put J.C. Latham at left tackle, put Dan Moore at right tackle.
Yeah, I mean.
But now he's got a hip injury, and he'll never be the same. See, that's the thing. Another thing to talk about, just real quick, side note, is that everybody's like, well, Dan Moore will eventually get better because he'll face less pass rushers. Well, probably not, but we'll see. But
J.C. Moore got better from week 1 to week 2.
A little bit. J.C. Latham will, players never stay 100% healthy throughout the whole season. Well,
Yeah.
he's already going to be, when he comes back from his hip injury, he's going to be starting week 4, week 5, whenever he comes back at 70%. So he's never going to be better than what he, as healthy as what he was. So it's going to take, he may not even look right.
Yeah. I wonder if they panicked, and this is just reckless speculation. I don't have information to report here, but I wonder if they panicked to get someone they perceive to be a capable veteran tackle, because this run game that when I was on 3HL, Greg Cosell told me it's a very detailed run game in terms of the calls, the movements, slides, all that stuff. Did they panic because they felt we've got to get a capable veteran guy and we can't rely on young players? And if that's the case, well, maybe we got to put a little heat on the guy coordinating the run game. It's to say, hey, why is this so detailed? Why do we have to get a veteran guy in here to run this stuff? And because I have a hard time justifying seeing the darkest timeline so far for Dan Moore Jr. and thinking like this is kind of consistent to what he showed on tape. Like this should not be unexpected.
Yeah, because Brent,
and yet you really anchored down with this guy.
yeah.
Where does this sense of urgency come from?
Well, Brent Favre said we were right to worry about his stats when he got signed. I was like, well, I get it because the stats are easy for everybody to point to and stuff, but we also told you the film sucked too.
The tape was inconsistent at best.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. Brandon Thorne was on our cover too. Remember he was he on with us? Yeah, he was on with us. Me and
No.
you.
I didn't get to
Was
talk
that just me by himself?
I would have gushed over Brandon Thorne if I
Oh.
got to talk to him.
Well, maybe it was just me and Brandon Thorne. But I asked him about Dan Moore, and he's like, well, he's like average. No, he said below average.
Yeah.
And then he said subpar. And that really was him maybe catching himself saying, oh, maybe I shouldn't have probably called him below average on air. And it just goes back to the fact that everybody was very quick to make excuses for Russell Wilson or for Dan Moore on behalf of Russell Wilson, Justin Fields taking sacks, not knowing that the stats painted the right picture, that he actually allowed 18 sacks, I think, from his side. And in reality, it was just 12 sacks once you took out the quarterback playing.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, the stats paint the picture. The film was totally inconsistent. He has no anchor, it feels like, right now. He's constantly getting pushed back in one-on-one matchups. That's the thing. This team can't win one-on-one matchups. And then, so I feel like that's a panic, except for Skoronski. And I go back to what you just said about Bill Callahan. And listen, the people that listen to Cover 2 that also are listening right now, they're going to be very mad that we're talking about the offensive line again.
Yeah.
Because they're mad that I've railed on the offensive line and Bill Callahan for a show and a half now.
It's been a massive disappointment.
It has. I mean, I know that Easton graded him a C for his job, but it's been a D plus or an F for me. I pretty much am probably a D.
I don't know what this offensive line group has done well the last 2 years. I mean, Peter Skoronski, a bright spot. I'll concede that. I think, and more of last year when I think they had a tight end that could block in this scheme in Nick Vannett, the run game looked a little bit better. And when you could see, okay, when these blocks are working, you have all these moving parts, guys are communicating. When it's blocked up, sure, it's a damn good run scheme. And I think the idea of pairing that with what Brian Callahan wants to run in the passing game, I think that's a very tantalizing prospect. But we also saw Peter Skoronski and Dylan Radins running into each other trying to run this scheme last year.
I'll never forget them running into each other in that play.
We've seen some pretty bad blocking this season so far. And so, I mean...
And they're getting beat on basic moves. That's the thing.
My point of criticism here would be, Brian went on Greenlight with Chris Long or whatever the name of the podcast is, and he said that this run game has every run in the book in it. And if that's the case, and if these guys know every run in the book that there is, then like why do you keep sticking with the ones that require a tight end to cross the formation and kick out the end man when Chikakakwo is routinely getting crushed back into the play? Like,
and what's funny is
at a
that he did it in practice. I saw him do it in practice, which just goes to speak that this defense sucks.
But I think like it gets back to like maybe we should tweak some things with the scheme, and maybe we should just focus on getting the best possible offensive lineman. And if that means like don't panic on Dan Moore and let's ride with a day 2 rookie, so be it. You take your lumps there, because I guarantee you I'd rather have Ariante Ursary right now at left tackle than Dan Moore Jr. And to your point, like it's not – I feel like we're picking on Dan Moore here. Kevin Zeitler's been bad. Lloyd Cushenberry has been –
I mean, I'm sure he did ask to get paid $82 million, but he didn't go out there and say, I'm only playing for $82 million, right? Like the Titans were willing to give Dan Moore $82 million despite having tape that says it's probably a $13 million a year guy, if even that.
So I think that this is one of those areas where I say, like, if that improved, I think this offense would look a whole lot better. And you didn't do enough to improve it.
Yeah.
And in fact, now you're in a situation where if they don't get their shit together, you've done more to the detriment of the unit than you've actually done to aid it. And that's where I get back to everybody puts heat on the coaching staff, and I'm not going to say that's not warranted, but I think there should be some heat on the front office as well, because they're complicit in these personnel decisions that are greatly impacting the roster.
And again,
as well.
Femi Oladejo, right? Like if you would have gone a wide receiver at that pick, a Trey Harris, an Isaac Teslaw, maybe even I think Kyle Williams was still available.
Kyle Williams was still available.
I mean, like a wide receiver at that pick. That may change. We may not have Chimere Dike, right? Or then we may not change. We may not have Elikai Manor, but you may have used your resources differently. And I think they panicked. I think they traded too far back to pick up a third-round pick. They wanted a third-round pick, so they had traded too far back to get the third-round pick. And then they realized, oh, shit, we screwed ourselves. And instead of being patient and letting the board speak to them, they reached for Femi Oladejo. And then you go and turn around and you draft a guy coming off an ACL tear. And I love Kevin Winston. And I think Kevin Winston's tape's good. And which is now proving to be a very big if he can stay healthy, you may have something. But when you are a team in the position that you're in and you want to be winning games and have guys you can rely on in the future, you have to draft healthy guys.
Yep.
And you have to draft guys at impact positions. And I get Edge is an impact position, but he's not an impact player. He's not an impact player in the run game. You get maybe 3 or 4 good plays out of him a game out of the 48 snaps he plays, Femi Oladejo. None of them are really in the pass rush. I think I've charted at least one pass rush where I was like, oh, man, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And I've charted maybe 3 or 4 setting the edge plays. Woo! Setting the edge. Let's do it.
Well, as Arden Key showed us, we know the most important trait in an edge rusher is their ability to block extra points.
Yeah.
I will say for no reason at all, I was watching a little Cardinals-Panthers today to get ready for the Cardinals preview. And Princely Umamialen is looking pretty decent.
Really?
He had a sack in that game. I think it was Princely Umamialen that the Panthers
I think he does have a sack.
Yeah, he had a pretty nice sack. Yeah, he's got a pretty nice sack, that one. Looked pretty good in that game. And I just think about Mike Green being on the board. And
production plus athleticism was on the board.
Yeah.
And that's such an easy formula.
It's a layup.
It's a layup. Instead, you drafted a project that may or may not turn into anything, right? Like, we talked about second-round edge rushers don't really have a high hit rate for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But you panic. And it's because you wanted a third-round pick. And I get it. You wanted a third-round pick. And that was the price you paid for it. But that doesn't mean you have to stick with a position. And that's what it felt like, is like they were position-oriented, not best player available-oriented.
I wonder what tackles were on the board when they picked.
I think Ursary was still on
Was
there.
he still on the board? Yeah.
Anthony Belton was definitely on the board, I believe.
Who's playing for the Packers at right tackle right now. J.C. Latham at left, Anthony Belton at right. I mean, come on. That sounds pretty good to me.
It's these ripple effects that we've talked about with this Tennessee Titans team dating back to the Isaiah Wilson pick, right? They were able to maybe hide that Isaiah Wilson pick for a year.
Yeah.
That the disaster that it was, but then it created a ripple effect. And you still are feeling that effect because you had to go and sign Dan Moore for $82 million. Like, you are still feeling that effect. Like, if Isaiah Wilson hit, maybe you're not drafting Peter Skoronski, right? Maybe people view that as a bad thing or a good thing. You don't know, but I'm just saying, like, that ripple effect, the ripple effect of bad draft classes and a ripple effect like this reverberates through the Titans franchise and stays around longer than most other franchises.
Yeah, it's the witch in the woods. I think there's also like a pretty hard.
Johnny Buck says, if we didn't have Femi, no one would know.
Don't block Johnny Bucks. Keep him in there. That was a good one. I told you that I forgot. Oh, there goes my pen. I forgot Arden Key was on this team until he blocked that extra point last week too. So it's been bad, man. Is it crazy to say, and maybe I'm just gone off that go-go juice. I think what I'm getting at with all this is that if you're going to fire Brian Callahan, just fire everybody.
Woo! I don't know. I mean, like, I'd be okay with it. You know, like, I'm not advocating for it or anything, but I think that's way too much money on the old expense account.
Well, yeah, I'm with that too.
And I do think that the draft class outside of the Femi Oladejo disaster pick has promise to it.
Yeah. I'm just spitballing here. I'm just saying what's popping into my head.
Hey, listen,
I'm just curious because even then I still don't think it solves the root issue of, like, do we trust the people making the decisions to get it right? What?
What's this guy's name? Vamp a little bit for me.
Vamp a little bit? Yeah, so like just what I'm getting at is like I like this is why I tweeted the other day that it could be the darkest timeline, because I think people want to fire the coach as a Band-Aid and clean out the coaching staff, but I think the front office is complicit in this as well. So to what degree? And maybe you could say, like, hey, you know what? Maybe just fire Chad Brinker and make Mike Borgonzi the legit GM and let him run the show. But I don't know. I would want to know what his role in this acquisition cycle was as well. And so I don't know that it's that easy. But I just think when we start getting into this, if we're at a point where we want to start making changes for an organization that has been pretty tumultuous over the last few years, I don't know that it helps you historically from the precedent set by firing Rand Carthon and firing Mike Vrabel and firing John Robinson. You fired one guy and it hasn't worked out for you to this point because the team and the roster still stinks.
Okay, I got it.
So if you're going to make that move, just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, clear house from top to bottom, and then go from there. We're going to get so much shit because I'm on here like everybody's been like fire Callahan so far, and then I've come along like fire everybody.
Okay.
Everybody needs to go.
But also, you were also preaching hope, and now you're like fire everyone.
Well, that's why I said, like, I think the team sucks, but I think they've been competitive, and that has surprised me. And if they can keep being competitive and learn to close games out, that's their ticket out to win games.
I can solve the issue.
That's their ticket to this whole thing. Win fucking games.
Yes. I got it.
All right.
You fire Borgonzi, you fire Brinker, you fire Callahan, and you just go back to the standard general manager
Yeah.
the head coach thing. You bring in Terrence Gray from the Buffalo Bills, and he brings Joe Brady as the head coach, and we are cooking with gas. You love it? You love it?
I do like Terrence Gray. I did tell you
Or someone from the Ravens front office and Todd Monken.
I did text you this morning and say I was going to start a narrative tonight that the Titans should have promoted Monty Austin for it.
You were. do you want to roll with that?
It's out there now.
It is out there.
Maybe the Titans should have considered it because I think he's built a pretty good roster in Arizona.
I think Eldon.
I did like Terrence Gray.
Yeah, I did too. Eldon, I think, has this backwards. They decided on Callahan staying before they hired Brinker. I don't think that's what TD reported. I think TD reported that they were all in on that decision together.
Yeah, that's how I remember it too.
Now, I could be wrong on TD's reporting, and maybe I'm misremembering it, and I would need a link to it to go read it. I think it was TD, right? Or was that Easton?
I don't remember.
But it was a group effort on the Callahan front.
Nobody needs to tell me their secrets because this is why I'll just get on air and be like, yeah, that sounds right. I remember
Denard Wilson and Mike Vrabel would be killer to do what?
Now we're talking. Go get Mike Vrabel. Go get
but
Mike
I mean, like,
Vrabel.
who are they killing? Our hopes and dreams of having a good football team?
Oh, man. Running two different. I like
the people that think that Denard Wilson is a head coach is settle down.
Let's apologize. Go get Mike Vrabel back. We'll
make him football czar.
Yeah.
Emperor of football.
No. Let's make Denard the head coach. Mike Vrabel's the defensive coordinator, and we will run two different defensive schemes at the same time.
I love it. Let's do it.
Ross is nodding in the booth.
Willing to try anything.
But listen, it's just anything other than this. Let's do Terrence Gray, Joe Brady. Let's just go ahead and start it.
Oh, man. Did we get everything we wanted to get tonight? I wrote a page-long defense of John Ojukwu.
I don't think he played as bad as everybody says. Now, the moments, it's kind of like L'Jarius Sneed. The big moments are going to overshadow the actual tape. I said earlier this week, John Ojukwu is still your best option at right tackle. Now, that doesn't mean anything. That's like saying Jahard Ward is your best edge rusher.
Well, hang on.
Ain't good, people.
I will say something controversial here. People came at me. They tagged at me on Twitter, and they said that I was to blame for the sack fumble. I think that's on Cam Ward and the interior guys. I don't think it's on John Ojukwu. Because if you watch the play, and I've watched that play about a dozen times on the tape, and I've slowed it down.
Just to make sure.
Paused it. Like, you see Cam's instinct, the block straight up with a line to the backfield. John holds the point, man. Like, it ain't – you're asking a lot if you want him to sustain against a guy like Byron Young. But if you watch the interior guys, they are being driven back, and so there's nowhere for Cam to step up. Cam's instinct then to evade the pressure, he steps right. And when he takes that one step right, Byron Young sees it, and he disengages from John Ojukwu, and he has a free lane. When he has a free lane, Cam tries to cut up field. He slips and falls. He's not taking very good care of the ball. The ball comes out.
I agree.
It's not. I'm not saying it was a perfect game. But to your point, I think the same thing. I think he's their best option at right tackle right now.
And that's not good. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's better, but stick with it.
He is so slow against speed.
Yeah.
When the guys take outside, when they take outside and bend in.
Oh, it's over. And he's got skinny legs. You'd think he'd be fast with them calves.
The weird thing is, like, he gets out in space and gets to the second level quickly. It's like a straight line versus side-to-side thing. Like, you get a speed guy that has to make him turn. He is so slow to turn.
But there were also times in the run game where I thought that he looked really good. And there were other times in other pass protection it looked really good.
Yeah, they were running behind him.
I don't think it was as bad as what it all says, but this is also not J.C. Latham. Like,
Yes.
Here's the thing. Yes. I guess I'd say we understand that the drop-off from J.C. Latham, John Ojukwu, is massive.
Yeah.
But the difference between John Ojukwu and the rest of them, I think, is also massive.
And
I think he's clearly their best option at right tackle. That's on the roster right now.
To be fair to John Ojukwu, too, is that, like, we have to remember the context of his place on this roster. It's like this is still an undrafted guy that is a developmental prospect. And so if you look at where he's at compared to where he was when he got here, he's developed nicely. His role is not going to be franchise right tackle. His role is going to be, let's develop him into a comfortable swing option that we have depth-wise down the road that we can trust to put in spot duty when they need him.
Okay. We have to go to this topic while I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
And here's the thing, because it's about the front office and it's about John Ojukwu. And I brought this up. Me and Blaine have talked about this earlier this week, and I want to talk about it with you because I know you've been busy and I don't think you heard it.
I haven't heard you guys talk about John Ojukwu. I don't know if anybody else talks about John Ojukwu besides me.
Final 53 control goes over to Chad Brink, or goes over to Mike Bergonzi. Maybe Chad Brinker.
Supposedly.
Allegedly. I mean, that's what they told us. So
they told us.
That's what they told us. And they decided to go with Oli Udoh. And they decided to go with Blake Hance.
Yeah.
That's who they put on their roster.
Which,
and
again,
Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon. Because they were afraid that, like, his magnificent tape was going to get him picked up by someone.
Yeah. The same people that passed on him in the draft.
Yeah. They cut John Ojukwu, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came down to, hey, we got a full week to prepare, and we're going to play a player at right tackle, they went with the guy they put on the practice squad. They didn't go with the guy that they kept on the active roster in Oli Udoh. They ended up cutting Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon. It was John Ojukwu who stayed, which lets me know that they're not on the same page with who is the best players on this team.
And I will say this, we've seen a revolving door at right tackle under this coaching staff in the past. They didn't abandon ship with John Ojukwu. He got beat a couple times. He had some really ugly false start penalties. They stuck with him. He played the whole game.
Well, and those were at the very beginning, right? He didn't have penalty after the very beginning.
No. He had two back-to-back on the opening drive, and I think he had a third one later.
Did he have a third one later?
Which I like. Man, I wish I could remember who wrote it for Titan-sized, but somebody brought up, like, good players make
Will Lamas.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Good players make bad players commit penalties.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of that going on where you've got Byron Young, who's a damn good pass rusher in the NFL, opposite you. Like, you're asking a lot of an undrafted free agent right tackle to come in like the first drive of the game when things are cold. Maybe he's still got a little bit of jitters. Like,
maybe he didn't drink his milk today.
Maybe he didn't drink his milk that day.
You know, he drinks a gallon of milk to maintain weight every day.
Well, you got to keep those bones strong.
Yeah.
He ain't got no muscle on him.
He's just a little fella.
Little fella. He'd fucking pile drive us.
And also just shave your head.
I
mean, let's not keep that hairline going.
I just feel like I think that's been my source of frustration. I don't think people are mad about the right things.
I would agree with that.
I don't think people are mad, and that's why it's been nice to just stay in my little cave and watch tape. I've watched a fuck ton of tape this week and just kind of like do my little charting of the third down plays and the explosives, and I haven't really
the third down plays that then when you chart, do you do the ones that are penalty then gets them back into third and 16 as well?
No, I eliminate the penalties, just the plays that they run. I did a podcast on Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography this week. It was really nice to kind of drown out the noise, and then as soon as I turn on cover 2 and I look at the chat for 5 minutes, I'm like, y'all aren't even on the right trail right now.
Because everybody wants to kind of give this offensive line a pass because they all think it's going to get better. And maybe it does.
Maybe it would have if Kevin Zeitler played in the preseason.
Which falls on the coaching, right?
And maybe it would have if they had gone with Corey Levin to start the season instead of Lloyd Cushenberry while he's still recovered.
Because that's what we said, that Lloyd Cushenberry may not be ready yet. And then you put him out there cold, and let me tell you something. He got manhandled versus the Rams.
Dude, it was bad.
It was bad. And he wasn't good, which goes back to Bill Callahan and maybe a little bit of Rand Carthon here for signing Lloyd Cushenberry. He wasn't good before he got injured.
No, he really regressed.
Yeah, which
troubling.
Shouldn't if you have Bill Callahan as your coach.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to talk bad about Bill Callahan, it feels like.
Maybe
because it's like he's like secret football czar over there, and he's really got control over everything from the media
Maybe
to
that's what it is.
the draft and everything. I don't know, but like Bill Callahan, I pretty much have now just talked to myself. Hey, he's been an F since he's been here.
Well, that's what, and like I keep coughing and burping into this thing. Maybe I should have kept this in the stand. I want to give this staff the benefit of the doubt because I do think they were handed a pretty shitty plate. Like literally, you sat down for dinner time and somebody handed you a plate of shit to eat. I think it's been that bad, but it's hard to find instances where the offensive line has improved because right now I'm looking at guys that have pedigrees that have gotten worse when they came here, like Lloyd Cushenberry and Kevin Zeitler. And it's looking like you're admitting that J.C. Latham was not left tackle like you thought he could. And it's looking like you misevaluated Dan Moore Jr. And no complaints about Big Meat Pete. I mean, he's on the trajectory. It's a shame the Titans won't win enough games for him to go to the Pro Bowl because if he keeps playing like this, like he deserves a spot among the league's best. But man, it's hard to find instances where things are working so good that you're like, yeah, man, you're rocking it over there. And I'm being objective here.
But
I don't know.
When you talk about that, then you talk about the hope of this team. The hope of this team is that this offensive line has to get better, or none of the hope matters.
Well, and that's
because Cam Ward's not going to be. He can't scramble around for his life and stay healthy a full 17 games.
And that's where I come back to the talent, and the reason I say they have the talent to be better than they are.
Yeah.
And so you hope that it eventually clicks, and that maybe if the strategy is to just like hammer through it, just power through this thing and get the reps in and one day it'll click, like that's fine. But I mean, from an evaluation standpoint, that's all you have to go on because it hasn't looked good so far from that unit.
I think they should have just kept J.C. Latham at left tackle next to Skoronski and then put Dan Moore at right tackle.
Yeah, that or drafted a right tackle.
Yeah. I think that would have been the better situation for this team in that instant. If Vince, Ed Henry says, if Vince Lombardi coached the Titans, how long would it take before they changed the name of the trophy?
Oh, shit. That's a good one, Ed. Not long.
So, I mean, like, see, that's the thing, I guess, because we talk through this whole situation, and then I'm like, I go back to the hope. And I'm like, this is why I don't have hope, because we just sat here and just talked about how all this stuff sucks. And I'm like, and it's hard for me to say that, like, I think, here's what I think. This staff can't ruin Cam Ward. Can the offensive line ruin Cam Ward? Maybe. Because they may get him killed.
The offensive line might have already ruined Cam Ward.
Right. But this staff can't ruin Cam Ward. Like Cam Ward, the football player in a vacuum, I feel very good about for the future.
Yeah.
I just can't put those expectations on him this year that he can elevate this roster at this point. And this is the situation of when you're drafting first overall. Like, I hope he does. I hope that he does. I hope that I'm sitting here. Well, maybe to a certain extent, even though that's 2 losses, but I could see what you're saying.
That's kind of
like
the point
Levis right now. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. This offense would look even worse with Levis right now.
Yes,
regardless of the upgrades, and if everything else stayed the same, it would probably look worse with Levis. I do agree with that. But that's still not good enough to, I think, right now for this team. I hope that I'm sitting here in week 15 and I'm saying, man, remember when we sat here and we held the microphones and we had one of the best podcasts that we probably ever had? I think we've had one of the best podcasts we had. And I think it's because we're holding the microphones and stuff.
Maybe that's what it is. I think it's because Jackson's rubbing his nipples in the window.
Well, that may be it too, but he does that every episode. So
busted. Gotcha.
Blow his dick off.
Who said that on this podcast?
I don't know. But like, I look at it and I go, I hope that that's what it is. But I know, I hate to come off like Nostradamus or know-it-all, but I just have this feeling that it's not going to end up that way. And it's really for a myriad of reasons. For a lack of belief in the staff, because the staff hasn't showed me anything to latch on to as belief anymore. Lack of a pass rush, lack of offensive line, lack of good players. Like, it's just you're lacking a lot. Does that mean that maybe you squeak out wins that you shouldn't squeak out? Yeah, sure, it's the NFL, right? Like, that happens all the time. But do I think this turns into some behemoth where we have a lot of hope going in?
Oh,
like,
okay.
I think that the thing is like, if this, I think almost for me, my hope is that the Titans end up with a top 3 pick and they fire Brian Callahan, because I think that's what's best for the long-term health of this franchise.
Mm.
You could throw Bergonzi in there too. I'm not going to cry, lose any sleep over Bergonzi. He kind of like big man me. Well, I've seen him a few times out there, and it's like, I gave you the best interview of your fucking life, and you're just not going to even say hi.
He's got a great handshake, though, and he's strikingly handsome in person. I will say that. I think it's best for this team for everybody to just get their shit together.
Yes, that would ultimately be what's best.
But you're banking on a lot, and
lack of pass rush. How? I don't know. Just watch the tape. I mean, there ain't no pass rush on this team, bud.
I'm allowing for the room to grow, but I do think that this thing can get to a critical mass where, historically speaking, we have seen the owner step in and make a change.
The placement of the Patriots game puts this whole thing in a perilous situation. Could the NFL not helped us out and maybe put that at like week 16?
Yeah, that's one that I think it's going to be interesting, man, because I think if they're 3-4 after that game and they've won the Patriots game, I think, all right, we're heading towards a turning point here. If they're 2-5, I think I can live with that. But if they've only won, if they're 0-7 or 1-6, it's going to be really hard to cool that seat down.
It's going to be really hard to not probably more people take where I'm currently at. Maybe I'm just here a little early, and maybe that will make me wrong. That will make me wrong, maybe. But I just am like, I feel like I've seen this play out across the NFL so many times with a rookie quarterback. Like, it's just like, I just know where this is going to go.
What do you make of the reports, the idea that, like, the locker room is still strong and steady?
Because I don't know. I feel like we heard some minor cracks in that.
Oh, did we? I might have missed that.
Jeffrey Simmons says that we've been competitive for 6 quarters. I don't think he means the entire team. I think he means them, the defense, because he's been very defense versus offense. And I think Denard Wilson's little comments about competitive stamina, like our defense has to maintain a certain level of competitive stamina, is pretty much saying we have to have higher competitive stamina because we're going to be on the field longer.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a little bit now. That doesn't mean that he's lost the locker room or anything. I don't want that out there or anything.
Just cracks.
But when we know,
oh no, no, you're still. I can still hear you.
You can hear me. Oh, I think my thing's died.
Yeah.
When we know that, we'll know when they've lost the locker room,
because it sounds
you can't
like,
hide it.
It sounds like that's starting to happen in Miami, and I think that's the.
Well, I don't know. All the players came out this week and said we're all focused. We're all in this together, but Mike McDaniel has had to adjust greatly from where he was at. He let that locker room get too lax. There's a great article by Mike Silver at The Athletic. And now he's being more of a disciplinarian, and they're having to adjust all that. Now, Jalen Phillips came out and said that they're trending in the right direction. We're all behind Mike McDaniel. But we'll see how long that lasts, right? You can't keep losing and that lasts. Winning cures everything. Winning hides everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Anything in the chat we need to get to?
No, everyone in the league gets paid millions of dollars to do this job. Level of competition doesn't matter. I guess about the pass rush, I don't think you're taking into consideration the level of competition. Because that's the same guy who said, how is it a bad pass rush?
The Rams have a terrible offensive line.
The Rams have no first-round draft pick on their entire offensive line and have 2 undrafted free agents right now currently playing on that team, and they couldn't generate any kind of pass rush.
I'm pretty sure the Rams have 3 centers on their offensive line right now.
So the Bills score. Miami's up 7, but Miami and Buffalo are tied at 7.
Okay. Good for Miami.
If you can generate pressure inside is a huge advantage for the defense. Sure, but they just can't do it.
They can't generate pressure inside either.
I mean, like, there's just no, like, Jeffrey Simmons
teeth.
can't even do it on a consistent basis. And we've seen that is the case of Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
Does not mean that when he is on, he's not one of the best in the league. He's just not on all the time. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. It's kind of the chat mostly agreed with, I think, both of us at different times. So,
okay.
Johnny Bucks and Brent Favre said this was a kick-ass fucking podcast.
I'll take that.
They use different words, but I can't remember what they were.
I was about to say, if they're words you can't say on this podcast, then
it was like the best damn podcast or something like that.
I'll take it. Thank you, Johnny
this is
Bucks
such a
and
great.
Brett
It wasn't.
Favre.
There was no cussing. This is such a great show, man. And Johnny Bucks says, "Yeah, I kind of feel bad for messing with Zach Erlich because he keeps bringing up the Shadur Sanders over Cam Ward kind of deal."
Well, I don't know if Johnny was with us. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
We did talk about it a couple of weeks ago, but I ended up with Cam Ward at number 1.
Yeah, and I didn't because I was stubborn.
So I'm just saying, just update your little diary of bad takes.
All that was hashed out on this very podcast a couple weeks ago.
Brent Favre says, is Jeff even elite? No, he is not. That's pretty easily answered. Devon Hughes says, I feel like it would be hard to argue that he is. Ed Henry says, fully engorged podcast. So there you go.
Thank you, Ed Henry. Fully engorged. It's usually I usually have a hoodie on in this studio because it's pretty cold, but not today. So I'm hoping my nipples have not just protruded this entire episode.
All right, that will do it for us. This has been Football and Other F Words, and you have just been effed.